Welcome, nondescript idiot teenagers, to Geek Salad's Retro Movie Reviews from the Geek Salad Podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And we continue on with the month of October as we look at Friday the 13th, Part 6.
Mm-hmm. Jason Lives. Yeah. This is my second favorite Friday the 13th movie.
What is your first?
Jason X.
Okay.
Mainly because really from this point on, they're like, you know what? Let's. He's back. He's resurrected by lightning. Sure, why not? Next movie, he fights a psychic teenager. Sure, why not? He goes to space. Why not? They just, you know what? We know it's ridiculous. Let's have fun with it.
Okay, yeah. Well, let me be completely frank then. I feel like you really do need to have a deep and abiding love of this series to be able to accept any of this. Truly. I watched this movie and I'm like, really? Your favorite? Did I get this movie right? Let me ask him. I might be watching the wrong movie. Is it 6? Oh, yeah, it's 6. Oh, fuck. Oh, God.
A lot of the fandom actually considers this as like almost a predecessor to Scream.
Well, actually, I think Kevin Williamson actually did say that he took a lot of influence from this one over anything else, which is odd. You've seen Scream, I'm assuming, right?
Oh yeah.
This is the first movie that we get the best damn Tommy Jarvis in the whole series. Well, of course, because he was kind of an adult at that point.
He was an adult in 5 as well, but we don't talk about 5.
It's also a different actor too, because apparently the last one converted to Christianity, and he just could not do this anymore.
Yeah, he didn't want to get messed up with a slasher movie anymore. He's too good for that. His soul is too pure.
Yeah. Again, deep and abiding love is really what you need to power yourself through this movie, and I unfortunately do not have that. This is one of those movies where, to me, growing, and keep in mind, I grew up and I was 14 years old when this movie came out. This would have been right up my alley, but it's almost like every time somebody brings up a horror slasher film coming off of Return of the Living Dead. Oh God, Return of the Living Dead. That's I know it's not PJ Souls. It's what's her name? It's the remake where about half of it takes place in a graveyard, right? I think I'll have to wait for Kurt to get back to us on that. But it's like every stereotype of an 80s slasher film is represented in this. But it's like y'all should be above this at this point. You and Halloween cast this die. You should be above this. And instead, we get Tommy Jarvis like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to dig up the body of Jason. I'm going to douse it with fire. I'm going to douse it in gasoline. I'm going to set it on fire. Oh, my PTSD. Let me grab this large metal rod. What could possibly happen in this thunderstorm? Lightning rod. Oh, Linnea Quigley. Okay, yeah. She of the really terrible Merkin in that movie.
I mean, to be fair, this is probably the best thing that Horshack.
Ron Palillo? Yes. And that's the thing, I'm like, watching this movie like, who is this Horshack looking motherfucker? Oh, it's Horshack, actually.
This is probably the biggest role of Ron Palillo post Welcome Back, Kotter.
Post Kotter, yeah. And he's in the movie for like literally 3 minutes before Jason punches a hole in his stomach.
Literally rips his heart out.
Literally. It's like, this is of your own devices, Tommy Jarvis. And I just felt like things just kind of happened. How do we get people here? Okay, non-script teenagers. You're now camp counselors. Go watch these younger children. Corporate paintball. You're over here. It's like There was no sense made to any of this movie other than the fact it takes place over the course of, I'm assuming, 24 hours.
Yeah, probably around there. But I mean, I think that is almost the point. Is that at this point, like, because after 5, the 5 had made money, but critics hated it and all the fans hated it. So they were like, you know what? We got one more swing at the apple. Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And the director's like, all right, let's just have fun with it. You know, yeah, all these are stereotypes. Let's play into that.
I
mean, this one, like, it breaks the fourth wall. It absolutely pokes fun at its own origins. The groundskeeper looks right in the camera and says, "Some people got a strange idea of entertainment."
Yeah, that groundskeeper also needed to go back to acting school to learn how to hold a bottle convincingly.
That scene was actually added afterwards because I guess the director had done it so there were 13 kills.
Yeah,
he did that on purpose.
But
then like, we want more kills, we want more gore. So they actually added that scene. The groundskeeper and those two, that young couple, they weren't supposed to be in the movie, but they were added because they needed more deaths.
Okay. Okay. I don't know. Again, this is definitely not my brand of vodka when it comes to even slasher films. You know, and I've said that before. I'm more of a Nightmare on Elm Street guy. I like the humor. I like the
This one had humor.
Huh?
This one had humor. I actually got a laugh because I noticed something that I had never noticed about this movie before.
All right, go ahead.
I didn't notice that one of the kids in the camp had fallen asleep reading Descartes' No Exit.
Oh, okay. Didn't see that. Again, this is my first time watching this movie. Oh, what do we got? Hi, Barbecue with Neil. I don't know. I just feel like I'm trying to be nice, Mike. It's tough because I watched this entire movie going, please let it be the wrong movie. Please let it be the wrong movie. Please let it be the wrong movie.
So what were you going to be when you grew up?
Oh, God, those kids. It's like, okay, we got the smart alecky kids here that are really just ruining the horror vibe and the tension vibe right here. It's like, yeah, we're smart alecky. We're going to die.
That's the point. They know they're in a horror movie. And they're just like, they're just throwing out the lines because they know it.
Let me posit this to you then, because I kind of feel like if this really wanted to be the metaphysical Friday the 13th, it's absolutely the wrong film era for them to actually try to attempt this. And that might be where you're getting what you're getting, but you're also, let's be honest, you didn't watch a lot of movies back in 1986, right?
I certainly didn't watch this one in 1986.
Oh, God, no. And I remember what filmmaking was like back then. They would have never done anything like this. So, while I can give it the credit of trying, I feel like something like Scream, which actually is more of a wink and a nod to the slasher stuff, can handle it better only because enough time had passed from the initial quote-unquote good slasher movies to 96 when Scream came out.
This is also the only Friday the 13th movie, other than the very first one, that has above 50% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Interesting. It's also the only Friday the 13th with no nudity. Mike, you picked the one with no nudity?
That was the director's thing. He wanted to kind of get away from that whole if you have sex then you're gonna die thing.
Yeah, so the two people who had sex died almost immediately.
Yeah. I do love it though when the sheriff's daughter is like, driving off and like, no, get down. And she shows her and he's just like,
wah.
And she's like, no, that's where I want you.
Yep, that's just my jean crotch right there. Enjoy. There's a camera pointed at that right now, pretending to be your head. So,
Yeah,
just
this is when you really have to understand that everything is just done metaphysically. This whole movie is just kind of poking fun of the movies that came before and this entire slasher genre. That's why
right.
all the characters are kind of like larger than life caricatures of themselves.
Yep, the know-it-all sheriff who's going to die, his hot daughter, the one guy who tells the truth that nobody believes.
Yep.
Understandable. I understand that. And, like I said, I can appreciate what they were trying to do here. I just feel like there wasn't enough time in between. We're talking a 6-year difference between when the first movie came out and this one. These were an annual occurrence at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, having not watched Friday the 13th Part 5, I'm sure it was very refreshing to wash the taste of fake Jason out of your mouth.
And that's the thing is, like, in Friday the 13th Part 5, they had all these same stereotypes. In fact, they had some even worse stereotypes, but they weren't playing it well tongue-in-cheek. They were actually playing it straight. And so the director's like, let's take all that, but now let's play the whole thing like we know we're in on the joke.
All right, so then let me ask you this then.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
How, tonally and narratively, how does 7 move on from 6?
Well, 7 definitely plays it more straight. They aren't, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Although, I mean, granted, the main character has psychic powers that she uses to both resurrect and fight Jason. And like they kind of know what they are. Even honestly, even with 8, they kind of know. Like, yeah, we get it. These are all broad caricatures. They're just there for cannon fodder. Whatever. Let's just have fun with
it. Right.
And that's why I don't hate 8 as much as a lot of people do. Also, why I don't hate X as much as a lot of people seem to.
Well, Jason in space is Jason in space. I mean, which one is 8, by the way? Is 8's not Lost in New York, is it?
It takes Manhattan. Yes,
takes Manhattan. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
the Muppets and Jason have both taken Manhattan.
Where Manhattan only takes place in like the 3rd act. They get about 20 minutes of Manhattan footage. The rest of it's on a boat.
Oh.
It's not great, but I don't hate it as much as a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Now, a 5, I'm really not a fan of. And
nobody's a fan of 5 because it's not Jason at all.
Yeah, and honestly, 9, Jason Goes to Hell. Jason is actually this little worm parasite thing. No.
Okay.
No. But Jason X is fun. Freddy versus Jason is ridiculously fun too.
Okay, I haven't seen any of these.
No.
And maybe that's also the disconnect too. Is that, and I've said this before, that I feel like there is a horror fans are horror fans to the core. Now I know you're not really a horror fan. You love this series. But horror fans in general, especially, cinematic horror fans, are very loyal to the classics, the Freddys, the Jasons, the Michael Myers. They also get really, really upset during things like all of the most recent Halloween movies that have come out. Or
it's like, why is Michael Myers like he is? He's actually not a bad guy. He's just in a bad circumstance.
I haven't seen any of them, so I couldn't tell you.
I've never. It also might be why I'm kind of more of a fan of the Halloween movies post 3, like 4, 5, and 6.
Oh, dear. Okay.
Whereas, you know what? They're not good. No. But are they kind of goofy fun? Yeah.
Right. So in other words, they're more cut in the mold of these middle Friday the 13th then.
Yeah, kind of.
All
I
right.
think they're like, what if Michael Myers had a Jewish curse on him?
It's funny because it don't look Jewish. Uh, I
I actually said that line hoping you would get it.
glad I didn't let you down. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just like part of the thing too is, and putting myself back in my 14-year-old head about when these movies came out, how scary they would be. And I don't feel like there were adequate jump scares. It's just one of these things where I'm like, I'm watching this movie and I'm waiting for something to scare me. And nothing is scaring me. And maybe it's just age. Maybe it's just the fact that I kind of know, I know the tropes. I'm like every character in Scream. I know all the tropes. So
Actually, this one, especially compared to some of the others, this one doesn't have a whole lot of gore in it.
no, it does. It's just straight up like, okay, I stabby. I mean, I think the most gruesome kill, other than Horshack, is when he stabs headphones in the ear. I can't. Was there any point remember any of their names?
That was Court.
Thanks. And then when he twisted that poor girl's head because even the innocent must die. It's like the two girls watching the cabin. It's like they did nothing wrong.
Yeah. They were camp counselors, and that's
all it takes. This is what happens when you know how Tom Savini do it. No, seriously.
Actually, the reading some more behind the scenes about that whole like twisting the head around, that wasn't in the original cut. The original cut was just her being pulled out the window, and then you don't see her again until she opens up the door and her head falls out. That was the entire thing. But the studio was like, we need more gore in this movie. Show her head being twisted off, and then showing him carrying around the body.
Okay. I don't know. Now all of a sudden I'm picturing like this Hollywood boardroom with these guys with enormous boners for every kill. It's like, please, it's not erect enough. Make it gorier.
Yeah, especially like the first 4 movies were much gorier, and even the 5th one had a lot of gore in it. This one definitely seemed to be playing more like by tongue in cheek, less gore to it.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think they really kind of, it's very like Scream, more almost like Galaxy Quest, where they knew exactly what they were. They were poking fun of it at the same time, making a solid Friday the 13th movie, at least in my opinion.
All right. Yeah. Yeah. It's tough because we had a conversation about 5 years ago when we did the first one. We jumped from one to this one. Yeah. We haven't done any of the ones in between.
Didn't we do Jason X?
No.
I thought we did Jason X when we were doing about like
we actually had a full show about Friday the 13th. We did a podcast on that. But in terms of our retro reviews, we haven't talked about Friday the 13th in at least 5 years.
I thought we covered Jason X. I'm gonna have to look into that.
No, we definitely have talked about Jason X before, but it was more like it was definitely like a Halloween themed episode that we had done. We haven't talked about a Friday the 13th movie in at least 5 years. That was the first movie, which I was also kind of like, okay, these kids are idiots. There's nothing redeeming about anything. They should all die.
Well, guess what? Most of them did.
Yep. It's just like with this one too. You get Tommy and Blonde.
So I was just looking up on when Jason X came out, and like, dang it, 2001. We can't talk about it next week.
Next year. No, we cannot talk about it next year. But we could talk about next year though. Scream.
What was that? 98?
96.
Oh, so 10 years after this.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. But that's for next year. We're still got to get through the 80s. And we Mike remathed. We've got 2 movies we can still talk about.
Yeah.
So after this week,
I mean, we got one more pick from me, but it's not really. It's a movie I've never seen before,
Yeah.
and it's a movie I don't think you've seen it, right?
I've seen bits and pieces. All right, so full disclosure, I actually just watched it last weekend because
Oh, okay.
I don't know when I can watch movies. So when I have the time to watch a movie, I'm going to watch the movie. I watched this movie almost 2 weeks ago, just because that's when I had time to watch. I'm like, okay, I got time. It's an hour and a half. I'm good, and at least that's something I'm thankful for. In the 3 of these movies that we've talked about this month, they all firmly land at the hour and a half.
Yeah. In fact, this one was shorter than that. It's like 86 minutes.
This is a very short movie. This is a very short movie.
And it's also had the great song by Alice Cooper. He's back, the man behind the mask.
Oh yeah, another staple of mid '80s horror. It's got these hair metal butt rock anthems going on, and then
I want to say that this was the first one where they actually had a rock soundtrack.
Yeah, I think it was so. Well, they get Alice Cooper. Then Alice Cooper went on and did other horror movies after this.
Yeah,
but
and Muppet Show before this.
No, that was in the '70s.
Yeah,
they always ran that on Halloween.
Yeah.
Overall, it's not for me.
It's fair.
I feel like now I gotta look horror. I gotta look at horror in 1986 and see what else would have come out around this time that I might have actually enjoyed.
I mean, this was 2 years after Nightmare on Elm Street, right?
Yes. And our friend M from Verbal Diorama just released her episode on Nightmare on Elm Street, so go check that out. Okay, so
in fact, next week she's doing Friday the 13th.
That's right. All right, so here's some movies that were released in 1986 that are, in fact, horrors. I'm not counting Little Shop of Horrors because that's a musical. Critters. The Fly. Gothic. Poltergeist 2. Night of the Creeps. I'm not counting Aliens either. That's an action film. Psycho 3.
Oh, yeah.
Troll 1. Not the, oh my God, Troll.
Which isn't actually Troll.
Yeah. Maximum Overdrive. The Hitcher. Shopping Mall.
Oh.
Nomads. The Wraith. Vamp.
So I mean, this was not the only horror movie that came out that year that was done very tongue-in-cheek.
Right. Witchboard, April Fool's Day, which honestly is a better parody horror movie. Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, The Class of Nukem High. Why are those Cobra listed in here?
Kevin C says Chopping Mall is amazing.
Chopping Mall is so bizarre. Night of the Creeps was a fun one.
Yeah, I've never seen Chopping Mall.
Oh, it's.
I mean, granted, these are all horrors, so odds are good. I haven't seen most of them.
Right. Well, Chopping Mall is like horror in a way. Again, it's just like, okay, let's introduce this deadly thing into a common area, i.e., the mall. And I'll tell you straight up, there is no psycho killer.
Okay.
You'll have to, and honestly, this is the kind of thing where you could go on YouTube and find any reviewer who does these types of movies, and they can go over this with you.
I know what Shopping Mall is about. I know what the
security robots are killing people.
Yeah, because why not?
Yeah, because why not live in a police state?
Critters. Critters is fun. Critters is kind of a fun one.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love The Fly. Fly is one of my favorite movies of '86.
Yeah. That one's a little bit, I mean, oddly enough for someone that loves this movie, but The Fly is a little too body humor for me. But
body horror.
We did do The Fly before.
We did review The Fly, so you can check that out in our archives there. But I don't know. Hey, you got anything else you want to talk about with Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives?
if Tommy had really been drowned for that long, I don't think CPR would have revived him.
No.
But he was a good hero, and you know what? She was a good final girl, so I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
They got their happy ending. Now they have to slough all their problems off on telekinetic child. Is a sentence I just said.
I bet you when you woke up this morning, you never thought those words coming out of your mouth.
Mike, every day there is going to be a conversation that I'm going to have where I'm like, I don't know, just tell people what I did yesterday. I had a conversation on Twitter yesterday with Ashley Lynch and a couple of other people about the color of the Hulk's dong, whether or not it also turned green or not. And I'm like, you know, me, my coworker, what'd you do last night? Me, I talked about various shades and colors of the Hulk's dong. You?
Oddly enough, I had the same conversation.
It's like taking a peach paint swatch and putting it in between two emerald green paint swatches. My eyes do not need to see this. So anyway, that was Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Want to know, put it in there. Where does this rank in your list of Friday the 13th films? Is it up in the top area? Is it down the bottom area? That's the kind of topic that...
Glad you're here for you, Kurt.
Kurt, thank you, because every day for me is this. This is my life. So let us know. Now I'm going to start calling. Leave a polite comment below. Let us know what you think. Also, you can check out everything that we've done this past month by subscribing to the YouTube channel. It helps us. It helps us all. It helps the world. It helps the world heal as I talk about the various shades and colors of the Hulk's dong. We do this every week, so we've got a couple more. We have 2 more horror movies coming up, and then we have something planned for November, so stay tuned. We also host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can get that wherever you get podcasts. We just released our latest episode where we rank the our favorite cast members from 50 seasons of Saturday Night Live. Fun discussion that we had. So check that out wherever you get your podcast. You can also get that audio here on the YouTube channel as well. What else did I say? Oh yeah, if you want to follow us in the socials, we're on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast and at Geek Salad Radio on Twitter, on Blue Sky, and on Threads. And next week we got another classic 80s knife in hand horror movie coming up for you. VHS Beyond. It's nuts and great horror. Isn't that? Now I'm gonna look it up, Kevin. Now I'm gonna look it up.
Didn't that one just come out?
I think it did just come out. Okay, now I'm gonna look at movies for that because all right, huh?
2024.
2024. Okay, well,
yeah,
we'll get to it in a few years. I think we're keeping with our decades thing.
It's a found footage horror. I don't care much for found footage.
Oh, because I got one online for next year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll have to talk about it offline, but yeah.
Okay.
Eventually, we'll also get to the Terrifier movies. Now, there's a movie series. There's a movie series that has no aspersions as anything more than what it is.
And yet, it took down another Killer Clown movie.
Honestly, you see the smile on my face right now? You want to know how I get these scars? Wild, wild concepts. Well, I'm sure it'll pop up in our conversations, Kevin. You know, Mike and I are not horror people. So, watch it. We do this, once a year in October. We were doing the 80s this year. We did the 70s last year. So, check those out if you haven't checked those out yet. And then next year, we'll be doing the 90s. I've got thoughts. I'll talk to you offline about that, though. Okay. But, yeah, folks, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please don't hate me too much that I didn't like this movie. And until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth and be nerdful. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.